Hello Kotlin learners, today we are delving into the crucial topic of handling exceptions in Kotlin. Exception handling is a fundamental aspect of writing robust and reliable code. Get ready to learn how Kotlin empowers us to manage exceptions gracefully and make our programs more responseless. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna first create a new project. Just go to file over here, new project, name it as exception handling. Kotlin IntelliJ, create it. What's the issue? Old file, new project, and what was the issue? So, exception handling is the process of gracefully managing unexpected situations that can arise during the exception of a program. In Kotlin, we have powerful tools to catch, handle, and even create our own exceptions. So, what I'm going to do is uh, under src, under main, under Kotlin, create a package over here, new package, name it as handling exceptions. Now let's create a new Kotlin file over here. So just go to Kotlin, make sure it's a file, and over here I'm gonna say um, recipe exception. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say fun main is one class. Now what I'm gonna do in the under this classes, I'm gonna say try, and then I'm gonna say catch e dot e io exception. So this is basically syntax of try and catch. Now I'm gonna write the code which I think the crash maker. I'm gonna write that code over here. So I'm gonna say val file. Suppose I want to read a file. I'm gonna say file. I need to write the path of the file. So under this exception handling, okay, so what I'm gonna do under this Kotlin, I'm gonna say a file name example, suppose example.txt, and write some name. So my name is Karthik. This is the file, normal file, okay, normal txt file it is. Now give the path. So I'm gonna say src slash main slash Kotlin slash example dot txt file. Click on this option, enter. Then once I got the file, I'm gonna read the file. So I'm gonna say reader is equals to file reader. file, pass the file over here, and now perform the reading operation. Suppose I'm just gonna say println uh, file read successfully, and I'm gonna close the reader. Okay. Now if suppose any sort of an exception occurs, so I'm gonna say println error reading the file e dot, so whatever the message, whatever the error message is, I'm gonna get it over here. Okay, I think this should work. Let's run the app and let's see. So in this example, we use a try catch block to handle a checked expression that might occur while reading a file. This ensures that if an exception occurs, it it is caught and can be handled appropriately. So the compiler will try to execute this code first. If any sort of a crash occurs, then automatically the compiler will execute this. So file read successfully. Now suppose I want, if I just suppose change the path, suppose I'm removing this Kotlin over here. Now a crash must occur. So the compiler will first try to fetch this line, but ultimately the crash will occur. We are going to debug this and we are going to see how this thing works. So error reading the file, this no such file or directory, this is the exception that it is throwing in e.message. So just add points over here, this red points, just click on this. Okay, and we could see how the code will run actually. Okay, now just click on this debug and we'll see how the compiler will try to execute this code. Okay, so for now the compiler is basically over here. Okay, and we need to move forward, so just click on this. Okay, the compiler is here and we'll try to execute this code. Okay, no problem is there. Now the crash must occur here in the reader when the compiler will try to read the file. Okay, the error occurred here because no such file is available, and the compiler will directly come over here in the catch and will try to execute this. Okay, after this catch, the compiler will try to execute this line and will come out of the try and catch. It's sort of like this. Okay, great. Let's take one more example. So over here, I'm gonna create one more example. Name it as Kotlin. Make sure it's file. And over here, I'm gonna say handling unchecked exception. On main. Suppose I'm gonna use try. Sorry. Catch e, suppose this time arithmetic exception, and what I'm gonna do over here is I'm gonna say val result 10 divided by 0, that is basically this will throw an error. I'm gonna say result whatever the result is, and then what I'm gonna do over here, I'm gonna print it. So I'm gonna say println error e dot message. Okay, let's see what's the output for this. So here we intentionally created an unchecked exception Arithmetic exceptions for division by 0 within a try-catch block to demonstrate handling such runtime exceptions in Kotlin. Okay, error divide by 0 error it's showing. Now if suppose I don't know what sort of an error it will throw, so I could directly write exception. It comes okay, and then if I run, so if I use exceptions, it could handle everything, so you don't have to think much about it. Okay. So now let's take one more example of by using finally block. Okay, let's create one more file over here. Finally block. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a file reader over here. So I'm gonna say var file reader file reader null. Just click on this option, enter import class file reader, done. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say try. I'm gonna say val file is equals to file, so it's src slash main slash kotlin slash example dot txt. Click on this option, enter, so that I could import library. Then I'm gonna print the file. Before that I'm gonna create a reader, so file reader is equals to file reader, I'm gonna say file, then println, I'm gonna say file read successfully, done. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a catch over here. I'm gonna say e io exception. I'm gonna say println error reading the file e dot message. Then I'm gonna use finally. So suppose the compiler will try to execute this file, and if any sort of an error occurs, it will try to execute this file, and then finally this code will occur. So if the error occurs or not, it's independent. Finally will occur after, if suppose there is no crash occurring, so the compiler will try to execute these three lines, and then the finally code will execute. Otherwise, if some sort of an error occurs with these three lines, the compiler will first try to compile this line and then the finally line. Okay, I'm gonna say finally, I'm gonna close the reader file. Sorry. Okay, and then I'm gonna print it. So I'm gonna say println cleanup operations in the finally block. Okay, let's run the code. So in this example, we introduce the finally block, which is executed regardless of whether an exception is thrown or not. It is commonly used for cleanup operations such as closing resources and all. Great. File is read successfully, and then the cleanup operation is done in the final block. Great. So and that concludes our exploration of exception handling in Kotlin. Exception handling is a critical skill for writing robust software, and Kotlin provides us with clean and concise tools for managing unexpected situations. So go ahead, practice handling exceptions in your Kotlin project and ensure your code is equipped to handle the unexpected. Happy coding. Meet you in the next lecture. Thank you.